Hello and welcome to the Comedy Recycling Theory again. If some of you are coming back for more than a second helping, or at least for a second helping, today we're talking about April Fooling Science twice. The Comedy Recycling Theory has the hypothesis that starting in 1929, when science generally assumed that the redshift that was observed is proof that the universe is expanding, is the part where science was actually fooled, and fooled big time by nature, that although it is true that they did observe the redshift equally in all directions, they forgot to check on one tiny little detail, and that is the fact that that wasn't really all that they saw. It's almost all they saw, but it wasn't all they saw. So what I'm trying to cover today is that I want to tell you what it is they missed. And what they missed was that we have what's called the Great Attractor. There's one and only one area in the entire universe where instead of increasing redshift with the distance, we increase blue shift up to a point, and then of course the redshift still increases in back of it. But they have termed this one place the Great Attractor, theoretically because it's supposed to be attracting Earth and everything else in this vicinity, even from as far away as we are from it, towards that one location. One of the proofs against it, however, is the fact that on the back of the Great Attractor, there's no infalling of everything on the back side of it. So what that happens to mean is that if we live in a closed universe that does have a preferred reference frame, specifically because it's closed at all the outer edges, or, you know, just like if you had a ball that, and you have a center of the ball, that at the outer edges of the ball, you would say, you know, that's the outer boundary of the ball. The same way with our universe, that the redshift increases equally, or increases in all directions until you get to the outer edge of the universe, and it's equal in all directions, which is why the universe looks so self-similar in every direction from where we are at. Since we're not at the center now, if you notice, the preferred reference frame that we have has established, the preferred reference frame has established that at the center of the universe, curvature, or the strength of gravity from the entire universe, is zero. It's the minimum spot in the entire universe, and it increases nearly linearly until you go all the way out to the outer edges where the curvature is complete or full. Now, what that means is, when you do that, that when Einstein made up his equations, he always assumed that there was no preferred reference frame, as much because he didn't want to prefer a specific reference frame, or say I picked this one and not that one, or, you know, that he didn't find a way that nature would be able to assign a preferred reference frame, whereas the Comedy Recycling Theory claims that nature has already made that preference, and that it's because our universe is a closed universe and has an actual center, that is where that preferred reference frame comes in. And the way to tell, again, is the increasing blue shift up to a point, which goes with the Great Attractor. That if you don't assume that, like in the standard theory model, you would note that the Great Attractor is extremely inconvenient, that there's nothing like it anywhere else in the universe, whereas there should be many of them if the universe is the same, or what they call isotropic, or the same in all directions. What that also means is that the redshift that's out there is caused gravitationally, and it's not caused by the Doppler shift. It's not caused by expansion equally, or expansion and expanding expansion at that in all directions. So they assumed that the universe was expanding equally in all directions. The proof against that was that the universe is not the same in all directions, and the redshift we see is actually, it's a gravitational redshift. And the way you can tell that, the way to prove that, is when you see the Great Attractor. Only if the universe is a closed universe with a preferred reference frame over it will you find, or in a natural mode, you would say as long as the Earth is not at the center, that the most blue-shifted area of the universe will be at the Great Attractor. It's literally running faster than we are here on Earth, and we're slowed down as compared to it, but not as much as when you get further out towards the outer edges of the universe. That also means that the universe is not isotropic, it's not the same in all directions, and that's where science was April Fooled the second time, when they assumed from Einstein's theory of relativity that what you see, that everywhere else in the universe is the same as here, which of course, after doing that and observing the redshift, they made the classic mistake that any science student is warned against making when you go to freshman chem lab or, physics class, anything like that, and you tell the professor, oh, I looked at my data and it didn't fit my hypothesis, so I corrected the data before I turned it in. Well, if you did that, you would certainly fail, and that's what science has done when they correct for the observed redshift to make it like the theory of relativity says it should. They correct it to the point and say, aha, it's just like us. Well, that's fine if it is just like us, but if it isn't, then that's one of those classic no-nos in science, and that's one of those things that gets you into really big trouble. So there you have it. There's at least two areas in which science has been April Fooled since at least 1929, when science decided that the universe was expanding and that it started off from a Big Bang, although I think they decided on the Big Bang a little bit later, but they at least decided that the universe was expanding in all directions the further you got from Earth. But, with the exception of the Great Attractor, is the one thing that tells you that that's really not the case. And we'll be back for some more segments a little bit later on, and thanks for listening, thanks for dropping in, and you can check out the Comedy Recycling Theory at www.cr-theory.org. Talk to you later. Bye.